Right, hello, good morning, and welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. It's a Friday, the 8th day of April, 2022. By His grace, we're live and we're here with yet another edition of the show. Our gratitude will go to the Most High God for the rare privilege of being alive, and of course, the opportunity of having another conversation around the top stories making the rounds here in our dear Republic. I'll let you into our panel for the morning's conversation shortly, but let's take a look at the front pages of our newspapers. Daily Graphic. We are building new economy, Dr. Bawumia. Collaborate to restore productivity of marine life, President to ACP states. Former Second Lady Hajia Ramatu Aliyu Mahama dead. May her soul rest in peace. 2021 National Best Farmer receives 600,000 cedis from ADB. Ghanaian Times. At the TESCON confab, economic fundamentals strong despite COVID-19 Russia-Ukraine conflict, VIP. ECG gives 6 institutions 3 days to pay 8.2 million cedis of phase disconnection. There will be no doom, so Energy Ministry Paris claim. Government commits to support expansion of green energy sector. Auntie Cecilia, I love this photograph of yours. President decries decline in oceans worldwide. Daily Guide. Bawumia mesmerizes at economy lecture. Raffles NDC. Ministry denies 10 million cedis Galamsey confab allegation. Deputy Minister sues newspaper for defamation. Nana Anes U.S. envoy. RS Blay lecture today. Hajia Ramatu Mahama passes on. New weekend crusading guide. Ghana's future safer and brighter under NPP Bawumia. 13 years after going in and out of court, Supreme Court vindicates ex-Universal Merchant Bank worker. Sanitation Minister charges Jospon Group to lead in green energy. Abokobi Lorry Station to receive facelift as Ghana East Assembly hands over to contractor. Co-IFS boss unveils 5-year strategic plan set to deliver public lecture on peace and leadership. The Informer. We've managed the economy better than Mahama, Bawumia declares. On Ghana sliding into doom, so former minister raises false red flag. Energy Minister reacts. Towards promoting parliamentary business, let's eschew mistrust and acrimony, Afenyo marking edges. Investment in green energy, government confident in Jospon Group. Efforts at arresting depreciating city. Bank of Ghana gets tough. UN boss bemoans climate change hypocrisy. Osiahene pursues unity, warns encroachers and looters of Osu properties to stay off. The Inquisitor. Refreshing news. Domso is never coming back. Ministry of Energy replies Dr. Donko. Baba Kamara Dangote in super deal. 1 year on, Electrochem Ghana proves skeptics wrong with success stories on a dancehall project. GISDEC Paris allegations against board chairman. Co-IFS boss launches 5-year strategic plan. The Herald. Bawumia dodges e-levy in his 2-hour address, implicitly confirms his rift with Ken Ofori-Atta of anti-poor measure. Ade, unhappy with government's use of 21 billion cedis to kill 9 banks, says it's partly responsible for economic crisis. Deputy Finance Minister sues Kweku Baako and others for linking her to Dubai embassy demolition. Aliyu Mahame's widow passes on at Kolebu, age 69. The Daily Statesman. We're on the right path in spite of global economic crisis, Dr. Bawumia. Ghana will never return to Doomsor Energy Ministry. First Lady, Ghana can rise above our challenges. NPP to set up party training school. The Daily Searchlight. Keep the faith. NPP has a track record of success, Bawumia charges. We have a vision to transform Ghana and are doing so despite current global crisis, Bawumia. Doomsor is never coming back. Energy Ministry rejects Dr. Donko claim. Bawumia growth fundamentals of the economy stronger and better. Ghanaian Publisher. Keep faith with NPP. Bawumia tells Ghanaians. Capital Bank case. Adeyint approved 27.5 million cedis to ACN, former MD. ADB presents prize to 2021 Best Farmer. Government pledges support to the Jospon Group of companies, urges them to go into green energy. The Custodian. Bawumia kills in court. NDC propaganda on economy, says NPP has track record of success. Ken storms Temaport to block revenue leakages. Odinu donates to Muslims in Ashanti region. Government will support Jospon Group to succeed. Sanitation Minister. The Accra Times. Bagbin cries in court as House goes on recess. Insists the Supreme Court ruling has made the work of the House more difficult. Weak enforcement affected mining sector. Minister Jinapo. Bagbin to journalists. You wield a great deal of dominion. Not Dai MP supports SHS students with items on prospectus. Kwabena Donkor quizzes Lands Minister. The Finder, public debt, 50.1 billion borrowed for 3 expenses, attracting 8.5 billion cedis interest annually. Dr. Bawumia. ECG to disconnect Communication Ministry, NITA, UNDP others over 8.1 million cedis debt. Energy Ministry debunks Dr. Donkor's doomsday to return claim. Ramadan, acidic fruits are a bad choice to break a fast. Outgoing U.S. ambassador to Ghana given a national honor. Business and Financial Times. Will weather the storm. VIP upbeat about economy. Bank of Ghana warns against unauthorized forex trading. Investors shy away from T-bills due to unattractive rates. Sanitation Minister assures Jospong Group of government support and all those who invest in a sanitation and water space. Vodafone Health Line rescues 10-year-old victim of multiple rapes. Hollard partners University of Cape Coast to ready students for post-academic success. The Catholic Standard. Cardinal Texin heads 2 pontifical academies. Stop playing ostrich. Take urgent steps to ensure safety of citizens. Lumen Christi TV will serve as an effective instrument for teaching. UN powerless in Ukraine war, where logic of powerful prevails. That's the Pope. Stigmatization, discrimination, a bane to HIV fight. And there's a happy birthday wish to Archbishop Nketia, Matthias Nketia, Emeritus Archbishop of Cape Coast. Yesterday was actually, no, next Thursday will be your birthday, your 80th birthday. So happy 80th birthday in advance to you, Most Reverend Matthias K. Nketia, Emeritus Archbishop of Cape Coast. We'll be back shortly.
Over 18 years in business, Appointed Time Printing Limited has delivered quality service to some of Ghana's well-known brands. With our equipment capacity, we are able to deliver 1,500 pieces of polo and t-shirts in 1 hour. This is only possible with us. For retailers and wholesalers, we offer for sale high-quality polo shirts and t-shirts in different colors at affordable prices. We have a one-stop shop for all creative designs and billboards, 3D signages, flexi banners, car branding, stickers and posters. Locate us at the old GNTC building near Swansea Shopping Arcade, Accra. Contact us on 0501 454165, 0501 454167. Connect with us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook at Appointed Time GH. Appointed Time Printing Limited. Our printing is a
Trasaco Estates, home to Accra's most beautiful and luxurious homes, presents its newest addition, Trasaco Springs, a premium master planned community of service plots surrounded by an exhaustive list of amenities. The gated community of Tema to Accra Motorway presents you the finest opportunity to own a land that suits your preferred size, budget and payment terms. Trasaco Springs is open to you for development. Our on-site sales executives are ready. Call on 055 659 2658.
And frustrated after meeting all our targets. Company cannot help us with our health needs.
Honestly, they are not helping us. Something has to be done about this.
You see, just yesterday I was at the hospital with my wife, and can you imagine the amount of money being charged? So outrageous.
Relax, guys. Just leave everything to me. Today I will deal with him accordingly.
You have to.
I surely will. Today be today. Sir, you want to leave. We are tired. You've been doing everything possible to ensure the success of this organization, but it looks like our healthcare is not taken into consideration. Am I speaking your mind?
Yes, you are.
And that is not fair.
Get a Cosmopolitan Health Insurance for all your employees today and have an easy life. Call us for your package.
Okay, guys, you are leaving because I have good news for you. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, providing the highest levels of coverage possible to our clients.
Do you want a modern vision for your office or a touch of sophistication for your living and bedroom spaces? Look no further than Kingdom Books and Stationery. At Kingdom Books and Stationery, we've been selling furniture and stationery for more than 20 years. Ours is a trusted brand that offers contemporary furniture designs that are elegant and timeless. And with so many designs, there is something for everyone. Discover our enormous range of affordable office furniture. We have executive and swivel chairs, office desk, tables and office equipment such as office safes, computers and accessories, as well as cabinets and shredders. Make your home a sanctuary with our wide range of home furniture, including beds, wardrobes, coffee and dining tables, and poolside chairs. And that's not all. We have hard copy books, notebooks, and all the accessories you would need for school or your workplace. So visit us today. You can locate us on the Osutla Road or the Akwa J Junction in Accra. Alternatively, you can shop online at www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery, delivering the promise.
Every single moment of all 64 matches of the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. Live on SuperSport. Here for every fan. Only on DSTV.
When you've mismanaged the economy into this hole, then anything sounds great to you because you don't have any option. You see what I mean? And this is the problem, that anything that is taxable, that can feasibly be taxed, they are trying to impose taxes on it, increasing withholding, taxes on withholding, and so on. All of these are hurting. They are hurting the economy. These taxes are hurting, and therefore you are not going to get the growth. And when you don't get the growth, you will not get the revenue. And when you don't get the revenue, you go back to increasing taxes to get the revenue, and then you are in a cyclical down.
In Kufuor's time, one of the people who advised and helped him develop a strong CD was my running mate, Muhammadu Bawumia. Then he was Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana. It's one of the reasons I brought him to come and join me, that we will work on the CD and create again a strong CD that will be able to allow us to develop our economy and allow our traders and our work to be able to develop.
And Kumasi is boiling as a result of this e-levy issue. Ghanaians said we are not interested in e-levy. But forcefully, Akufo-Addo, His Excellency, is actually forcing it on us. There's no problem. There are so many ways of killing a cat. If we dive this way, of freeing ourselves and it's not going on, we have adapted strategies. Honestly, in Kumasi, I've taken it as an agent of transferring this issue. I've been educating people on how to dodge this e-levy or this criminal payment they say we should be paying. The strategy is that if you want to dodge the e-levy, as I'm here now, my wife is in need of money at home. What I do is that I just allow cash out here. She'll go to an agent over there and cash it out. I'll probably do it through my phone. Simple. the transaction, the e-levy might even gotten only mine, but not hers. I hope you understand me, and it's very clear. So that's one of the strategies you can probably adapt in hiding from this e-levy issue, in order not to get the double track as they brought. You know, APP is fan of double track. They brought what do you call it, the free SHS with double track, and this one to double track, because they will track you here and track you over there. So we have now devised strategy of probably hiding from one track to remain on the single track.
This e-levy thing, it is a bad thing. We have been saying it that mobile, especially Momo, you should not tax Momo, because I've been sending money to the village to my mother. Now I will not send it again. What I'll do is that through Momo, if I see any trusted person going, I will give it to the person to send it, because first time that's how we used to do it. And that means is that there's going to be a lot of armed robbery in the system, and we will blame the president for it. It means that there's insecurity. There will be insecurity in this country very soon. And some of us, the only way we do is that we will not like to pay this e-levy. So any way we pass that will not pay it, we'll do it. I'll let her open bank account. All the time, I'll deposit the money in his account, because I've realized that the government has misused the money. Your first term, you appointed over 120 something ministers. When we want to say it, you say, oh, it's okay, it's okay. Now you see that you have drained the coffers. You have drained the coffers. And what is even angered most of us more is that just 2 days or 3 days ago, you have taken a chartered flight again to the USA. Why do you do that? Why? If it was your own company that you run and the company is in a distressed mood like this, will you do that at this point? Will you start taking a chartered flight? Can't you take any commercial flight and go to the US? Why? Our president, he doesn't feel for us. And what even angered me is that they passed this e-levy in parliament. There was a lot of controversy. And then within 2 days, you sign it into law. Why? Why wouldn't you wait for the controversy to settle before you sign it? I'm actually not happy with how the president behaved.
All of these are hurting. They are hurting the economy. These taxes are hurting. And therefore, you are not going to get the growth. And when you don't get the growth, you will not get the revenue. And when you don't get the revenue, you go back to increasing taxes to get the revenue. And then you are in a cyclical downward spiral. And so they have it wrong. And
those risks, how we've been doing things for so many years after independence, and that transformation wasn't coming. And so coming into government and heading the economic management team, the president gave me that mandate and gave me that opportunity to focus on how best we can transform and modernize Ghana to make sure that some of the challenges, some of the risks that, people who just want to operate in our economy are facing. So how we mitigate those risks, how we make this economy an efficient economy. And this is why I have focused on digitalization. Sometimes people say, well, we thought you were an economist, but you are doing so much in IT space. Have you left economics behind? No, not at all. In fact, it's because of the economy that I'm focusing on the digitization. Because without building those pillars, our economy will just not be able to stand on its own feet.
Propaganda you want, but if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you will recall that I stated in 2014 that if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. That was true then, and it is true now. It is 100% correct. So if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. But it is warped logic to jump from that to a conclusion that if there is depreciation in your currency, then the fundamentals must be weak. Do you understand the logic? It is very warped logic. If the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. But if the exchange rate moves, you cannot jump to that conclusion that the fundamentals are weak. That defies logic.
I am prepared to contribute time, money, health, including my own life, if it is required, to ensure that we give the people of this country a government that will.
You can engage in all the propaganda you want, but if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you.
You will recall.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. And today, you know, when you go to the airport, there's a place called Lost and Found, the baggage section. Okay, so today I've found a lost friend and brother of mine. He's the MP for Ejisu and the Deputy Minister of Finance, a legal practitioner as well. Dr. John Kuma. Don't worry.
Money, dog. You know this work.
I only see you on TV and in the newspapers.
And you have met on TV. And we have met on TV. I tell you. Once will be coming. Will surely be coming.
All right. Also with me on the show, another friend and brother, MP for Bolga Tanga Central and Deputy Ranking on the Finance Committee in Parliament, the Honorable Isaac Adongo. Good morning.
It's always a pleasure to see you. Good morning.
All right. Let's just hit the ground running. And yesterday, the youth wing of the MPP and the Dankwa Institute organized something at the TESCON Forum at Kaswa. Okay. And the keynote speaker was His Excellency the Vice President, Malaji Bahomia. And we were told that he was finally going to speak on the economy. Of course, there have been a lot of taunts about he running away from the economy and not speaking on economy and all that. So he had a lot to say about the economy. Let's take a few of excerpts of his address yesterday, and then I'll take the comments of our viewers, of our panel.
Deaths from COVID so far have totaled 1,445, and the total case count as at yesterday, the total cases in Ghana was 42 cases. So we have managed the COVID very well, and the expenditure was necessary for us to do so and to save lives. Some commentators and analysts have argued that the COVID expenditures could not be the only reason for the large fiscal deficit that was recorded in 2020 and 2021. In fact, I agree with this view because the data supports it, and I'll show you why. Comparing the fiscal deficit in 2020 and 2021 between Ghana and other sub-Saharan African countries, the data shows that COVID expenditures alone were not sufficient to explain the increase in our fiscal deficit. The fiscal deficit to GDP in Ghana increased by threefold compared to 1.23 for Nigeria, 1.02 for Egypt, and 2.43 for Cote d'Ivoire. In addition to COVID-19, there were two major items of expenditure. In addition to COVID-19, there were two major items of expenditure that are critical to understanding the evolution of the fiscal deficit and the debt stock: the banking sector cleanup and the energy sector excess capacity payments. The data shows that the three items, when you look at COVID expenditure, the banking sector cleanup, and the excess capacity payments, amounted to 50.1 billion Ghana cedis. That is the equivalent of some $7 billion for just these three items. And the rising price of oil has resulted in the prices of fuel going up across the globe, with petrol prices doubling in most countries. In fact, in the world today, the highest petroleum prices can be found in countries like Hong Kong, the Netherlands, Zimbabwe, Germany, Israel, and the United Kingdom. The global increase in fuel prices is causing hardships in even the most advanced economies like the United States of America. Global inflation is on the rise, as I said, in many advanced economies like the UK and the USA, who are experiencing their highest inflation in 30 and 40 years respectively. Africa's largest oil producer, Nigeria, is experiencing fuel shortages, as you can see the queues for fuel on the screen. They are experiencing high food prices as well as power outages. Food prices are rising sharply in Algeria, and there are shortages there. There are food protests in Spain over high fuel prices, food and electricity bills. In the UK, consumers are complaining about energy bills, higher taxes, the water bill, higher national insurance, higher broadband charges, and so on. Food prices have also not been left out. The Food and Agricultural Organization, the FAO Global Food Index, Price Index, increased from 95.1 at the end of 2019 to 140 in February 2022, an increase of 48%. The increase in commodity prices has been exacerbated by the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russia and Ukraine together account for 30% of the global wheat exports. The longer the conflict ensues, the greater will be the disruption to global food supplies. The conflict is also likely to slow global growth. According to the African Development Bank, the price of wheat has shot up by 62% since the war began, and the price of fertilizer is up by 300%, and the price of maize is up by 36% since the war began. Here in Ghana, 60% of our total imports of iron ore and steel are from Ukraine. Russia accounts for some 30% of Ghana's imported grains, 50% of flour, and 39% of fertilizer. So, we are directly affected by the Russia-Ukraine war. Unfortunately, we do not know when it will be over. We talked about moving the economy from a focus on taxation to a focus on production. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of measures to get the economy back on track when we had these challenges, and to improve domestic revenue mobilization and improve efficiency, government has increased a number of taxes. We extended the National Fiscal Stabilization Levy and the special import levies from 2020 to 2024. We imposed initially a luxury vehicle levy, which was later abolished. We increased the CST from 6% to 9% and later decreased it from 9% to 5%. We increased the national health insurance levy from 2.5% to 3.5%. We introduced a sanitation pollution levy of 10 pesos on the price of a liter of fuel. We had the energy sector recovery levy of 20 pesos, a financial sector cleanup levy of 5%, and recently the introduction of the e-levy of 1.5% on financial transactions. In fulfillment of our manifesto promise to move the economy from a focus on taxation to a focus on production, we have so far reduced or abolished 18 separate taxes and levies, and most of them were manifesto promises. No such broad-based reduction in taxes has been implemented by any government since independence. We talked about moving the economy from a focus on taxation to a focus on production. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of measures to get the economy back on track when we had these challenges and to improve domestic revenue mobilization and improve efficiency, government has increased a number of taxes. We extended the National Fiscal Stabilization Levy and the special import levies from 2020 to 2024. We imposed initially a luxury...
All right, so those were excerpts of yesterday's speech on the economy by the Vice President. Honorable Adongo, let me start off with you. You listened to it, and especially your side has called on the Vice President to speak to the issues of the economy, and you thought that he had deliberately decided not to speak to the economy and had found solace in digitalization. There you have it. He's spoken. And he says that the fundamentals are still very, very strong. And he's giving reasons why we are where we are. And he says that Ghanaians should keep faith with his government and his party because they have a track record of doing it.
Well, thank you very much. I would like to say a big thank you to your team and to say good morning to my brother. I work closely with him a lot because of the finance committee, and to my constituents and your viewers. Yeah, it was important that we got the Vice President to speak because when the ship is sinking, you want to be comfortable that there's leadership that will rescue you. But when the Vice President speaks, you want to be able to go away with high points that give you some comfort. Unfortunately, I got more of the same, and I was wondering whether somebody is in charge of this economy.
What led you to that?
I will explain that.
Right.
One is anybody who engages in economics of averages, particularly in a crisis regime, is simply telling you that there's no crisis and that my performance in the past compensates for whatever challenges you are facing, which is not a reality. But especially when somebody deals with economies of averages in a way that shows intellectual dishonesty, that it is even more worrying. NDC had been in government for 8 years. So if you want to do a 5-year comparison, we have a 5-year record. If you want to do a 4-year comparison, we have a 4-year record. But you cannot consistently compare 4 years to 5 years. We know that even level-headed students won't do that. So that is a major problem. When an economy is in crisis, what you look up to is where the trajectory is going. Are we descending or we are ascending? And if we are descending, what is the medium to long-term outlook going to look like based on the measures that we are putting in place? Because, Randy, we don't look to the past for comfort. We look to the future for comfort and confidence in the economy. Yesterday, Bawumia lost a huge opportunity to speak directly to the people who are worried about this economy. To let them know that on the basis of the measures that you have put in place, this is how we are going to end 2022, and that on the basis of that and the programs you have, this is the outlook into the future medium term. Then we are able to know that we are anchoring the trajectory, and that even if we are going down, there is a possibility that based on these, we can see the numbers are reflecting a future of hope. That didn't happen. I did not see him speak to me that there are measures that can let me look forward to tomorrow. And that for me was very worrying. And I have said, during periods of economic crisis, once again, you look to the trajectory. So if an economy in 2014, and we all know the challenges in 2014, and we cannot wish it away, when we had crude prices tumbled, in addition to we ourselves having production problems with the FPSO, tariff-bearing matters, which led to a significant drop in oil revenues to our country. We had problems of gold prices tumble on the world market to the extent that mining companies saw it more profitable to shut down than to produce. And mining companies were shutting down in Ghana. In the midst of all of this, we're also confronted with a global financial crisis. You will recall that within 2 months of implementation of the budget, the then Minister for Finance, Seth Terkper, had to appear before Parliament to make an urgent policy statement to the effect that just within that 2 months, they have seen that we're going to lose not less than $700 million. And that was going to throw the budget out, and we needed to take drastic action immediately. In fact, that led to the review of the Petroleum Revenue Management Act in order to find market-related benchmarking of our petroleum revenues. So these were the challenges at the time. We had serious external shocks. We didn't have much flows in terms of forex and all of that. And as a result, the cedi depreciated by 32%. Good. A good leader drives down this gradually from 32% to 9%. Then the trajectory continues into 2017, when you were yet to even form a government, when you were yet to have a handle on your policies that you were going to roll out. The cedi depreciation fell further. The trajectory continued to 6.4 in 2017. Then 2018, we saw an uptick. The trajectory began to get worrying because it was now moving up until it arrived at double digit once again in 2019 at 13%. Then in 2020, of course, COVID-induced slowdown in imports into the country, global supply chain disruptions, people were really not needing dollars. So the cedi depreciated, by a much lower rate by COVID. And we have suddenly seen when the economy is beginning to heat up and people are going back to work and businesses are beginning to work and they are beginning to get back to the levels that they were exporting before COVID, then we suddenly have a crisis on our hands where the cedi depreciates by almost 15% in the 15.7 in the first quarter, almost 18% in the first quarter. Then you have the head of the economic management team come to take the average of 4 years and get 18%. To suggest that we have been at 18% before, and so the 15.7% is better. But after doing the analysis and waking up to slumber, he realizes that the economy that was left with to him was a depreciation of 9% and not 18%. It doesn't give comfort to anybody listening to him that he has a solution. You have a man who says that when he said they were moving from taxation to production, it was going to lead to an expansion in the economy, said that with the same smaller tax handles, you are going to get more revenue than you were getting. Then we realize that the key measure of this is your revenue output vis-a-vis your GDP. That's a clear measure. And then onto the rate of growth of the economy. That will indicate that your policy has really kicked in and the economy is going in leaps and bounds. We realized that in 2017, even before you had formed a government, even before you had repealed the laws that will allow you to abolish the taxes that will help you to move from taxation to production, and we're still having the lingering effect of those you call the obnoxious taxes in the economy grew by 8.1%. Subsequently, after you have now taken out the taxes, which was, in your view, the shackle of the economy, that you have released the shackles, the economy must now unleash the growth. Is that not it? The economy now begins to see a downward trajectory. You should be worried. A downward trajectory of 6%, 6.2%, and then finally ends up at 0.41%. And you blame the almighty COVID for it. Clearly, that experiment has failed woefully, because there's no evidence that on the basis of the movement from taxation to production, you have unleashed the growth potential of the economy. Now what you do is to take the effect of the 2017 growth, which was autopilot technically, because that 8.4 still included the remnants of the taxes that you said were the shackles. And when you take the average, what you have done is to compensate for low performance with a high performance that included the taxes. What averages does is to compensate for low performance with outlier performance. In periods of crisis, in periods of stability, that is okay. But in periods of crisis, you want to see an improving trajectory. I am not seeing that. And then you are still trying to justify that this is a movement from taxation to production. A movement from taxation to production, when you keep complaining that as we speak, you are doing only 12.6% of GDP in tax revenue, and that your peers around you are doing about 22%. How come the movement from taxation to production, when he said that because the economy was low, you get into this cyclical spiral? Why is it that you have not been able to grow the revenue to GDP? Quite clearly, another failure. But even the biggest challenge also is that in a time of crisis where the exchange rate is the biggest problem, I would like to see measures that improve liquidity. And he himself admits that part of the problem that we face was that the investor community did not buy into the unrealistic projection of 40% increase in 40% increase in tax revenue or in revenue, and the movement from 12.6% suddenly to 20%. Investors did not believe it, and investors had issues with the credibility of the budget. As a result, investors began to reverse their positions in Ghana bonds and began to take their money out. And when they are leaving, they have to take the dollar. Randy, the only one of the things that can assure an investor not to take his money out and not to fear that you will run out of forex is your net international reserves, not your gross. The reason is that there are several encumbrances on the gross international reserves that are not available to the central bank to intervene in the market. For instance, as we speak today, government has an offshore debt service obligation of about $1.7 billion as we speak. It must be paid in the next few days. If you are running the central bank, since 6 months ago, you have to set that forex aside, because all obligations due in the next 6 months must be taken out in order that you don't default. In the event that government has the cedis and is struggling for the dollars, the central bank should be able to sell the dollars to government to meet the offshore obligation. So you set that aside. Your stabilization fund, governed by law, cannot be used by the central bank without appropriate approvals from parliament. So it is not available. Your heritage funds are encumbered because they are regulated by a law that doesn't even allow you to touch it or review it until after 15 years. So you take out all of this. What you are now left is what we call the net international reserve. That is free forex that can be used to intervene in the market. If you decide that you risk those resources, you can use and send them into the market. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia spoke consistently about gross international reserves and never mentioned net international reserves once. And yet the net international reserve is the major measure of our vulnerability. And it is the biggest sticking point for any investor who sees low reserves, gets a sense that there is going to be a crisis of liquidity in Forex, and I must exit before it runs out. He didn't talk about it. But the admission that you consciously projected 40% growth when you knew it's not possible, and that the investors saw through it, and you have not insisted that that 40% can be achieved, but that you are taking steps to manage the challenges. And you are blaming everybody else, including rating agencies and a chaotic approval of the e-levy. When you passed the budget, that day you came and read the budget, the market shut on you when your yield increased to 15%. You were beyond junk at that point in time. Randy, at that point in time, the investor was very clear what was happening in our economy. And immediately, they needed to understand that the investor community has been very wary of our data for a very long time. The numbers that Bawumia was quoting yesterday about deficit primary balance, they are the very data we questioned them about. And when they went to the IMF to go and collect the rapid credit facility arrangement, those are not the numbers they sent to the IMF. Why is it that they didn't report these numbers he's reporting here today to the IMF to take the money? Because at IMF, if you go and give them false reporting, the country will be charged.
What are the disparities in the two?
He is saying that for 5 years, is it 4 years before COVID arrived, they were doing a deficit of less than 5%. In fact, he even mentioned 3.9 at some point. The data they submitted to the IMF. 2018, deficit 6.79. Does that look like anything below 5%? 2019, 7.19%. Does that look like it? 2020, when they were going, they projected that they would do 9%. They did 15.7%. And 2021, they did 14.1%. So this is the problem. Then he talked about them achieving positive primary balance for 3-4 years before COVID. And yet, when you went to IMF, you told them that 2015, your primary balance was negative 1.35. Your primary balance was negative 1.65 in 2019. 2020, negative 9.29. Meanwhile, Bawumia mentioned 2020 at negative 5%. Well, negative 9.25. We have 2021 narrowing a little to negative 6.47. This is the data. Look at the debt to GDP. They reported to IMF 2018 61.9, 62.5 in 2019, 2020 78 point something, and now 2021 is about 83%. So why is he using data that is alien to the international community? So when you are talking to us, you see, let me tell you a story. What Bawumia did yesterday, blaming the rating agency. And what the rating agency did was, they don't pluck data from the sky. They use your data. And they will rely on international bodies as more credible data than your data. So what is equivalent to what they said is to say, why did you tell people that this is how we are? Because you told them, that's why they're angry and they're not bringing the money. So a student goes to school. Every term he's last in class, but he managed to get very beautiful results to come and give to the father. The next time he fails, he's last. He gets very good results to come and show to the father. One day the father goes to school to go and greet the teachers. And when the headmaster says, hey, Adongo, I've been looking for you. Come. They are going. Say, why? Your boy, Adongo Junior, his results are terrible. Oh. You have to do something. I said, how? Then they pull out the results. And I get the true size of my son's performance. After I leave, my son now goes to the teacher, why did you tell my father? Why did you tell my father? That's what Bawumia was doing now. Why did the rating agency tell us that this is the data? Who fights rating agencies? It's never happened. But I want Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to know that in the history of Ghana, if you plot the yield curve from Nkrumah's time on our bonds to this time and beyond, the records will show that there was one incompetent government that moved our yield beyond junk bonds to 21%. That will show that at one point in time, this was his legacy. And he must be worried about it. Maybe we'll come to others. But you see, when he was doing the comparators, that was where I felt scandalized. You are comparing America. And even bringing a video. This man is so busy, he shouldn't be seeing these things on video, or on Facebook and the rest.
Obviously, as a team.
They got it for him. Okay. And he showed somebody in America complaining. Are they your colleagues? Fuel in America has always been higher than Ghana. Okay? If you use the exchange rate, it has always been. But do you pay the type of salary they earn in America? That American man complaining can buy it, can get a decent meal, and sleeps in a very good house, and is able to pay for his mortgage. Is that what you pay here? When people don't go on strike, you don't give them 4% here. And you are compared to Togo, compared to Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. Then we know you are comparing apples to apples. And when he brought Cote d'Ivoire, you saw the size. When Cote d'Ivoire is doing an inflation of 6%, you are comparing to your own and saying that it has doubled. What is the relevance? You think that people of Ghana would not want to have a 6% inflation? Randy, when was the last time, since when did wheat become our staple food here? So, because Ukraine supplied 30% of wheat in the world, that is why banana is expensive. That is why cassava price has gone up. That is why we cannot buy maize. Please, let's be serious. You talked about iron ore and the rest. Why? Is it iron ore we are complaining about? Or we are complaining about basic food that we want to eat? We can buy it. If fertilizer prices are going up, it is in respect of the future, we agree. But when we were farming in 2021, we were buying Ukraine war fertilizer. And it is the 2021 output that we are eating now. So how can you use future price to explain away the price increases of products that we produce in 2021? Now you have a very good planting for food and jobs. And that you said planting for food and jobs is the most successful program that food is in abundance. Now, when COVID, Ukraine war starts, you run to Ukraine war to explain the price of cassava and maize and banana and fish. That is ridiculous. And you see, I want to do one last thing before my brother comes in. Anytime you have a government making excuses in a time of crisis and asking you to look back and not forward, know that you are in a ditch. Know that you are in serious crisis. We have told them that they need broader consultative conversation on this economy. They don't want to do it. They say they can do it. I don't support them going to IMF, and you would have noticed I've never said that. As a person, I've never said that. Because I believe that in the MPP, the man who was taught all the economists in the world is in the MPP. As a matter of fact, I didn't get to be taught by the professor who taught Baobia. I didn't attend Achimotest, I attended Zamstek. Zamstek, where I had to go and write late entrance. In other words, I could not even pass common entrance to be admitted into school. I had to go and write late entrance. And even that, they have to go and give somebody guinea fowl for me to get admission. He is there. In fact, any time before IMF said something, that man he even said it. So that man is now sitting there. So for me, but you see, Randy, you are sick. Your sickness is so serious that they've told you this sickness will kill you if you don't go and see a doctor. You say, I know how to take care of it. Today you go and buy para. Tomorrow you go and buy kunin. Tomorrow next you go and buy akoba. A time will come when the sickness will now finish you. Kwata said that you don't even have the right to take a decision whether you should be taken to the hospital or not. And your family will take you to the hospital, whether on a bicycle, on an ambulance, or in a taxi. That's where we are heading.
Right.
Self-medication by somebody who has driven you to this point and says that I will do it. And yet we are not seeing any clear solutions, and he himself is not able to tell you about the future, only the past.
All right.
What is the past for us when we are in this crisis?
Okay, so just hold on a bit. Let me go to John. But John, before you come in, on the 8th of September 2016, this was a tweet by Alhaji Bawumia. It says, that's 8th September 2016. That's on the screen. It says, rather than admitting their culpability for the dire situation, President Mahama has resorted to providing excuses. Is this not what the Vice President did yesterday?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Randy, and my senior colleague, Adongo. Let me start by taking your platform to express my deep condolences to my brother, Farouk. He lost the mother,
yes,
who is also the former second lady of our country.
Yes.
It's a very difficult time for the family. And I remember when Vice President Aliyu was alive, anytime we were in Tamale, we had to go and eat dessert in his house. And Mommy has been a strong pillar for all of us in the party. So we pray that may Allah keep her soul and console the family.
Right.
So Farouk, be strong. We are with you. Yeah, so thank you for the opportunity to discuss His Excellency Vice President Bawumia's statement yesterday. And what you just showed is completely different from what happened yesterday. Yesterday, listening to Vice President Bawumia, I got the impression that indeed this government understands that we are not in normal times. And this is subsequent to when His Excellency, the President, came to Parliament to give State of the Nation address. He also admitted that the country is in some state of anxiety, economic anxiety, because there are difficult times. And for me, these kind of admissions, I mean, yesterday, if you listen to Dr. Bawumia, he spoke about prices from Malata market to Makola market to KGTR market, and he clearly showed empathy that indeed we are not in normal times. And this admission that we are not in normal times, for me, is a clear admission that they understand or they empathize with Ghanaians and they understand what to do. The joy in all that is that he proved to Ghanaians that indeed he is the prophet, economic prophet of Ghana we know, the real Bawumia with the potent voice on the economy of Ghana. And anybody who listened to Dr. Bawumia yesterday will truly be comforted that indeed we have somebody who understands the inner workings of the Ghanaian economy, the difficult position we find ourselves now, and how we can come out. And let us not forget that before the COVID came, Ghana was doing very well. And Mr. Adongo says that there's no evidence that when we reduced taxes, it resulted in growth. If you check, many of the tax reduction happened in 2017 budget, and check the growth rate. I think we got 8.4 in that particular year before it started coming down. So there was immediate unleash of growth in the economy, and it responded very well. If you take the average from 2017, 2018, 2019, clearly the focus on production, as His Excellency the Vice President has always been saying, was clearly shown. Until obviously the COVID came. And yesterday, another clear admission to agree with Ghanaians that yes, it is not true that only COVID is the reason that we are where we are. And that there are two other key important reasons why we are where we are today. And he spoke about the IPP, the Independent Power Producer, the take-or-pay contracts the NDC signed when Dumsor came, and its liabilities on our country. In fact, we are still paying those debts. And even though His Excellency quoted about 21 billion for the IPPs, I believe every year, in every budget, consistently it keeps showing, because we have not cancelled all the contracts, so we have to keep paying. So this is a liability that is still on our hands, except that it's being better managed now. Also the FinSec.
I had a little problem with the take-or-pay issues.
Okay.
And so because you are from the Finance Ministry.
Yes.
We've had that discussion here with Honorable Jinapo.
Okay.
And in Parliament, your colleague, Honorable Suhini, asked the question, and your boss, the finance minister, came on the floor to answer.
Yes.
As to how much we've paid between 2017 and I think, was it 2020 or so?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, and the figure he gave was a little under 1 billion, 900 and something million.
Yeah.
Yes.
I recall I was in that chamber.
Yes.
Yes, but it depends on the nature of the question.
It was about how much we've paid.
He said he wanted him to tell us how much they paid on take-or-pay contracts and how much for each specific company.
Yes, I remember, and they listed
the amount paid. Yes,
but that was not the end of all the liabilities. It goes beyond just how much you have paid to, because some of them you have to even negotiate outside those who are currently providing. There are some you have to cancel. You know, we renegotiated and canceled some of them. Some went into judgment debt. So all of them together gives you a different figure from how much you've been paying to those who are supplying. So, what I enjoyed yesterday about Dr. Bawumia's lecture is his approach to addressing the problem. And yesterday he started by asking 11 key important questions on the economy. What are the economic fundamentals of the country? And that is what everybody is saying. Now, it appears Dr. Bawumia is no more talking about the economy, and he needed to let people understand the importance of the linkages between the economy and digitalization. And he perfectly delivered on that. And when people are disturbed about our debt levels, what can be done to bring back our debt levels to manageable, sustainable levels? He addressed that. Then he talked about the flagship programs and its impact on the economy. And the fact that even those who are worried that maybe we are where we are because of our flagship program, he says no. Even when you put all these figures together, how much government has spent in the last 5 years on our flagship, you are talking about just about 15 billion. But there are major components of our expenditures that have to be addressed. We are talking about interest rate compensation and all kinds of liabilities like COVID and the IPP and the FinSec, which if we properly handle going forward, will change the expenditure basket of our country. So for me, and the assurance that in all this, we need to build a new economy anchored on digitalization that will position the economy of Ghana in a path of prosperity and the way forward of telling Ghanaians that we have done it before and we can do it. And let's not forget what the president told us when COVID came, that as a government, he is taking a policy decision to preserve life. It will come at a cost, he knows. But when that cost comes, he knows how to bring back the economy. But when people lose their lives, he cannot bring it back. That statement, many people maybe have not taken time to analyze it. What it meant is that, yes, we are going to go full length at any cost to preserve this country. But once we are out, we will go through some difficulties to restore the economy. And we've done it before. In 2001, when the NPP government came to power, President Kufuor and the people of Ghana and the NPP government, Ghana was HIPIC. In 8 years before the NPP government left power, Ghana has been grown into a lower middle income economy. So there's a record. In 2017, it was the same thing. The NDC had taken this country to IMF, they had run down the economy, and we took the country out of IMF in 2-3 years and restored the economic indicators until COVID struck. And even in these difficult COVID circumstances that we find, and I was happy when Dr. Bawumia took his time and didn't speak only about Ghana, but Ghana being part of the difficult global environment that we find ourselves. He spoke about America. I mean, Mr. Adongo says that you shouldn't be using America and London because the wages they pay, we don't pay. But whether you like it or not, a sovereign country is a sovereign country. Okay, a fish in a small pond is a fish. A fish in the sea is a fish. No matter your level and size, when it comes to the global environment or when we meet as United Nations, it's the same recognition given to America that is given to Ghana, unless you don't believe in your own level of sovereignty.
The impact of an increment in fuel prices on you
is
not the same as my lady here.
Well, it depends.
So if I am speaking about my lady's difficulties, how do I use you
as an example? You can use me if you expected that I should be less hit and I'm complaining, then her matter will be worse. You know, in the Bible, Jesus said that though even he, if he's going through, then the followers, what will happen to us? So that is the sense of the comparison, that even those who are supposed to be better, I mean, perceived to be doing well, are even complaining. I mean, just check how Europe is now suffering under fuel situation. And now even Germany and Amsterdam, they have advised their citizens to begin to cut down on their gas use because of this Ukraine war and all that. So, I mean, if you check Yemen, there's fight over bread. In Egypt, Egypt has actually run to the IMF because of this fight over bread, and even in Germany, cooking oil. You have seen videos of supermarket fights over cooking oil in almighty Germany. So if you check Nigeria, I mean, fuel shortages, and so all that the vice president sought to do was that, yes, we understand that we are going through pain, but this is not the kind of pain that is as a result of our mismanagement or incompetence, as it used to be, but it is because we are unfortunately part of a global difficult situation that nobody could do much about it. But the steps we are putting in place will help address all these challenges in no time. And look, if you check from presentation of the 2022 budget, government has not sat down. There has been a number of interventions subsequent to the budget. After the cabinet retreat, government even announced 20% cut before the cabinet retreat in order to forestall
20% cut in what?
In discretionary expenditures.
So discretionary expenditures will be goods and services and capex.
No, the 20% is the entire budget, and then an additional 10% of discretionary expenditures.
Well, so 20% the entire budget.
That's about 31
How is that possible?
That's about 31 billion Ghana cedis.
Yes.
Is here. Let him tell us.
You see, of course, the entire budget, you have an expenditure of about 137 billion you want to do. Out of that, there are some of them you cannot touch, like your interest payments, your compensation, statutory payments. Those ones, they are very difficult to touch. But your CAPEX, goods and services, the ones to the MMDAs for projects, and maybe even some of your flagship that you can do something about. Those are the ones we are looking at. And the objective is to cut it up to 20%.
So it's 20% of non-discretionary or of discretionary.
Yes, the non-discretionary.
Which gives us
about 2.2,
maybe 2.4,
probably.
Yes.
2.4 of what?
Billion cedis.
Oh no, it's more than that.
Your capex is 16 billion.
Yes, it's more than that. But you're looking at the entire budget.
No, you're saying that you cannot touch your non-discretionary.
Yes.
Your non-discretionary in the budget is 113 billion.
Yeah.
Out of the 137, 113 billion is those three items that you can touch.
Okay.
So what is left is then 34 billion. That's what is left.
Yeah, but I want to say that.
No, sorry, 24 billion.
But you can't even cut more. Because
but the 24, if you want to use only that figure, then you're going to cut about 70%.
No, you don't get the point I'm making. I'm saying that's why I kept asking. John,
yeah, but the challenge is
that's why I kept asking where the 20% is going to come from.
Okay.
Because you have a total expenditure of 137.
Yes.
Out of that 137, your compensation, your statutory payment, your interest payment amounts to 113 billion.
Yes.
113.
I get it.
Now, if you deduct the 113 from your 137, you get 24 billion.
I get it.
Which would then be your capex and goods and services. So if you cannot touch the 113, what it means is that you can only cut from the 24.
Yes, but you are cutting to the level where you get 20% that reflects the entire budget.
And you can't do it.
So if it's 20%, if it's 20% of the entire budget,
yes,
then you're saying that you're cutting about 27 billion.
Yes.
That 27 billion is more than the total
the
two of them put together.
If it's what?
Yes. The two of them put together, goods and services and capex is 24 billion.
24 billion. Okay.
However,
and in that 24 billion is free SHS, so you can't even cut it.
No, that's 24 billion. However, your total budget, your total expenditure 137.
Yeah.
20% of the 137 is about 27 billion.
Okay, I get it.
So the 20 if you want to cut 20% of your total expenditure, it is even higher. It gives you a deficit even on your two. It's not possible.
On your discretionary.
It's not possible. Yes.
I get it. So that's the difficulty. But when your revenue is not coming, especially at a time when we were facing difficulty in passing the e-levy, which was the key revenue measure in the budget, you didn't have a choice than to target, to make sure that you do that in order to stay within the fiscal targets of the budget. Even though we have said that we are going to cut up to 20 or 30% of the budget, it is still subject to revenue performance.
But it's not possible.
No, I'm coming.
Yes.
We know it is not possible.
Yeah, it's not possible.
But I'm saying that the assurance of comfort is that we are not insisting on cutting up to that. But if we don't have the revenues coming, then you don't have a choice. You are not going to spend. You get the point.
I get it, but John, to carry us along,
okay,
you need to be telling us things that are realistic. Yeah. So we have assumptions.
Okay.
You have a projected expenditure of 137 billion. You have a projected revenue of 100.5 billion.
Okay.
So we assume that you make your 100.5, and therefore you spend 137. In the midst of this problem with e-levy and everything, you say that you would cut 20% of that budget.
Yeah.
Now, when we interrogate the figures, realize that you have 3 items that you, in finance, you describe as non-discretionary, which means that you cannot do anything about them.
Yeah, because of the rigidity.
Yes, that's your compensation, your interest payment, because you don't want to default, and then your statutory payments. These 3 items comes up to 113 billion. So even if you don't make your revenue of 100.5, as for this 113 billion, you must meet it.
Yes.
You understand me? Now, if you take the 113 billion out, you are left with 24 billion for capex and goods and services. So if there's anything you can cut on the face of it, it is the 24 billion.
Yeah.
Now, if you even take the whole 24 billion, that is, we will not buy even one A4 sheet anywhere in government.
And SS we have to
and
close
if we will do nothing, even that 24 billion will not amount to 20% of the budget. So you needn't even have announced.
No, you have to announce it because
it's not possible.
It's not possible.
It's easy, Randy. Sometimes it's so difficult when you have to manage a difficult financial situation like a deficit economy that we have in this country managed over a long period. And of course, it's not only Ghana that manages a deficit economy. It's done all over the world. The reality is that if you don't restrain yourself, if you don't bring yourself to the reality of impossibility, you are going to then go excess to what you are supposed to go to. But if you set a very difficult target and you are able to work close to it, even if you don't achieve all of it, you have at least restrained yourself to your expenditures. And we needed that consciousness to be able to stay within the fiscal targets that we have set for ourselves. But fortunately for everybody, at least the key revenue measure has been passed. We may not get the full expected returns for the year, but at least we are hoping to get a substantial amount, over 4.5 billion within the year, to support or to anchor the revenue expectations. And so we may not, at the end of the day, have to get to the 20% or 30% cut that we set ourselves. But once revenue does well, we are able to have financing arrangement that is able to sustain us, then we may not have to go to the extent that we wanted to go. That's the assurance I wanted to give, that government needed to show commitment that if we are not going to receive revenues, then we are not going to commit to expenditures. And of course, we all saw the
but it must be realistic.
Well,
you see, John, you don't get a point I'm making.
I'm
saying
getting
that
if you want to use
I want my government.
yes.
I want my government to carry me along.
Yes.
When my government says something, I want the figures to support it.
Yes.
I want to believe it.
Yes.
So I take the figures that my government has given me. What my government can touch is 24 billion. What it can touch, do anything about is 24 billion. Yet my government says that it wants to cut 20% is 27. If you even take it to 30%, then now you are going to the realm of 30 billion. On paper, based on the figures given to me by my government, it is not feasible.
So if your government doesn't have the revenue to do it, what will you expect your government to do at that point?
Okay, so does it mean that we will default on compensation?
Well, so
will we default on interest payments?
No, not now.
We will default on
now, by the grace of God, we have the revenue. So, but
because if
we didn't have it, you see, that is why the argument was: if you are not going to raise the revenue, then go to the IMF, because however it is, something has to happen.
Yes.
You get it.
Yes.
But fortunately, we have accepted it. So let's move on. But we were not going to get to a point where we were not having revenues and we are spending. Why are you going to spend?
Because if you told me that you cut 20% on capex and goods and services, that is more believable. Because that is discretionary.
Yes.
So you can decide that you defer some projects, you defer some expenditure to maybe next year if things get better. But if you tell me that you cut 20% of the entire expenditure in the budget, I can't believe it. Because the figures won't support it.
Okay. Granted, I mean the figures clearly support the argument you're making. But I am saying that for government to even come to that position,
right,
of positioning themselves to that austere level, should tell everybody the commitment of government to stay to fiscal targets.
Right.
Okay, no matter how difficult it was.
Right.
But at least that in itself brought an understanding and comfort to watchers of the economy that this is a country that is determined to walk out of the difficulty. It may not be palatable or believable, but at least there was that clear signal that government is committed to stay within the fiscal measures. And it is very, very important that we do that. So we need to keep calm. Randy, yes, let me also agree with a lot of people who are saying, yes, we have heard all the good analysis Dr. Bawumia has said, but yet we are going through financial difficulties. Our pockets are still struggling. Let me agree with them that yes, His Excellency the President, the Vice President, managers of the economy understand that there are still difficulties, even though we are doing our best to position this country out of the difficulty. But we are not alone. There are things, just like we are discussing discretionary and things that we don't have control over. It's the same thing. That some of the factors or the causes of some of these difficulties are such that government cannot do much about it. But if you look at the interventions we have done so far, even on the fuel front, there has been engagements by BOG, Bank of Ghana, with the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors and Ministry of Finance, all geared towards how we can work to reduce some of the margins and bring down the cost of fuel in our country. So even though the causes of the increment is beyond us, we are taking steps as government to ensure that we are able to manage the pricing regime to bring comfort to Ghanaians. So that is on one front. And then also a number of interventions are coming. In the youth front, government has announced Youth Start, which I believe by the end of the month or early next month, we are going to launch the Youth Start, which government is targeting to raise about 10 billion cedis or inject about 10 billion cedis in the next 3 years in youth innovations, creativity, and businesses and startups in our country, so that we can build the economy of this country on the shoulders of Ghanaian entrepreneurs going forward. This, for me, is a clear signal that government is determined to improve and work on the workings of the economy better. We are also hoping to see regular payments of IPCs for contractors. As the e-levy, government has indicated, the three key things that e-levy is going to do will be ensuring that we pay contractors on time and also to help reduce our debt burden. And I'm surprised that Honorable Adongo didn't agree that we posted positive primary balances for 3 continuous years.
I'm not the one saying, you said you are not. That's
we
why
said we are not.
Go and check your IMF document you provided.
You see,
that's why you
I
reported
don't know
to
which IMF document
for the rapid credit facility.
Oh, okay, for the rapid
proposal for the credit.
Yes, but you see, every report has its purpose. Okay, the last time Ghana was punished for false reporting was under the NDC government, when they falsely reported to IMF and the World Bank. Ghana was charged about what? 66 million or $100 million.
You probably don't even know the story.
Oh, then go and you tell us the story.
No, when you finish, I will.
Yeah, okay, you tell us the story. But that was under the NDC government. Look, IMF will punish Ghana if you do false accounting.
So that's why you speak the
No,
truth.
but this is the truth. Whatever we have put there is the truth. But you see, when they talk about separating FinSec and IPP in our reports, in our finance, we have, like I told you, above the line reporting, below the... These are global standards of reporting. Yes, that is why we've not been punished. Why are they afraid of the government? If you do false accounting, why did they punish you? So stop saying we have done false accounting. I've even heard the former president wading into that, but I think he's being misinformed. If any country is found to be doing false accounting or tampering with the figures of the country, you are going to be punished. So we have not been punished because we haven't done false accounting. You announce it, but in your presentation, in financial reporting, we have different kinds. You can do the central government reporting or you can do the general government reporting. But whichever
Don't we have a standardized way of reporting?
That is the standard.
Ghana?
Yes, the Ghana standard is what I'm talking
Is it the
to.
above or below? Which is the standard? Above
Ghana
the line,
has
below the
always
line?
done either above or below. And when you do, you indicate it every year.
Okay. But what
You
about
don't have to
primary?
hide
But
it.
for something like primary balance,
Yes.
what is sent to the World Bank and IMF
Yes.
must be what is told Ghanaians.
Yeah, but that's exactly what we have told Ghanaians.
No, but he's
That's why I'm
saying
surprised.
that
I don't believe
what was sent to the IMF.
I don't believe his data for now. No, I don't believe your data.
I like you say
But-
that for now.
Oh yeah,
So that
for
you
now,
go
because
and
I
find
need to check.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I'm saying once you see a document, you must understand the basis for that document and not generalize it. We are
Right.
talking about budget figures in the determination of primary balance, whether you are posting negative or positive. It is the same accounting process that the NDC government has been using. That is
Can
the
you show
same.
me 1 year?
That
you
is the
reported
same.
above and below the line. 1 year.
Oh, every year this
No,
is what
just show
has
me
been
1 year.
happening.
No, it's not true.
There is nothing new in what the NPP government
not
has
true,
done.
sir.
And I'm saying that the very year you lied to the IMF, you were punished.
I'll
So
talk
you
about
come and explain. But
I'll
I'm
talk-
saying,
I'm not explaining, I'm
don't,
talking about it.
okay, don't let anybody be under that false impression that government has been doing false accounting. If you do that, you'll be punished. But we believe that we have positioned this country better. We still have challenges, but at least we still have better management, better managers of the economy, especially when it comes to managing the economy of Ghana. We have shown and demonstrated. I mean, doomsday was self-inflicted by the incompetence of the NDC government. For 5 years, they could not resolve it. At least for now, today, as we speak, we are not in doomsday. And that alone should be enough. In spite of all these difficulties, we are not experiencing shortages in fuel. We are not experiencing shortages in electricity. It doesn't come without proper management of the economy. And so we are asking Ghanaians to have the comfort and belief and to still keep faith with the NPP. Look, listen to the NDC. In all these discussions, have they proffered even one alternative solution to the economic management of this country? One. I haven't heard so. The only thing I've heard from the NDC, which this morning my senior brother Adongo has even distanced himself, is their policy.
It has
of
always
going
been
to-
my position. It's
Well,
not today.
yes, I'm
If you have
happy,
been
but I
listening-
have not been listening
Oh,
on
yeah,
that.
I've never- it's
But
always
I'm
been my
happy
position, so-
that at least for the first time, somebody in the NDC believes that IMF is not the way to go in terms of sustainable management of our economy. We must believe in what we can do. And yes, we will go through difficulty in trying to achieve the limit, in trying to achieve the best for this country. But let's not be afraid of it. Let's be bold as the NPP government is bold. Let's be determined as we are determined and put our hearts and our minds together. What we need is the collective support of the country to support the government that, yes, you have shown us what you want to do. You have made us understand that you know our plight. You also understand that we are in difficult times. But we have also seen what you want to do in building this new economy and repositioning Ghana for a better future. And so we support you. This is our request to the country. And that's exactly what Dr. Bawumia did yesterday, trying to carry the country along and restoring hope and comfort to Ghana. That, yes, we may not be in the best of places today, but we are not alone. These are not things we have brought upon ourselves because of incompetence. But these are things that are beyond us. These are things we deliberately did. In fact, when COVID came, His Excellency said, yes, we will go through economic difficulty, but we know how to come out. And we have done it before. In 2017, it was worse than this. But yet we came out and started growing fast. Even when we check the year after COVID. The growth rate immediately increased from 0.4, and now we are talking about 5.3% for 2021. Okay, and this year we are projecting to do almost 6%. So clearly, this is a country or a government that understands how to grow this economy and how to build it better and rebound it to prosperous ways. And we also have the discipline to ensure that we walk back to the Fiscal Responsibility Act threshold of 5%. Okay, you know, when COVID came, we suspended the FRA, which requires that we post positive primary balance every year and do a minimum, or you shouldn't see the threshold of 5% deficit every year. We have to work towards that. And the target is to achieve that by 2024. So this year, we are hoping that we achieve 7.4, and then next year, we'll gradually work towards where we restore the Fiscal Responsibility Act. So yes, we have been deliberate about whatever is going on. We know that we will go through this phase of difficulty, but we have the solutions, we have the programs, we have the arrangement. Like you said, tell us what is believable. How can we trust you? Yesterday, Dr. Bawumia showed how and why you should believe in the MPP government, why you should trust the government, that even in difficult times, we know what to do to restore this economy and to make sure that we help Ghana come out of this sufferance. Imagine, Dr. Bawumia asked one important question, that in all this difficult environment, if parents were asked to go and pay school fees, and some of the fees will be about 3,000 Ghana cedis per annum, okay, and you have 1.2 million children in school today. I mean, Honorable Adongo knows that he and I, by now, the queue on our constituency offices will be very long. Everybody coming to seek for help. Government has intervened and taken that burden. And in the last 5 years, through these flagship programs, government has spent 60 billion in the country. That is the social support systems that we have built through these flagship programs to support our country. Those in teacher training colleges and nursing training colleges receiving allowances is also supporting the country. Okay? Parents not paying school fees and all this NAPCO and all the flagship programs of planting for food and jobs and fertilizer subsidy that we have provided. These are funds that government has put in the pockets of people in the country.
Those parents who you say that you're cushioning are the same parents that you've called upon to pay all the taxes and levies you've introduced from 2020 as a result of COVID.
Yes, Randy, that one, there is no country that can be built without taxes. The parents
no, I don't get the point I'm making. I'm saying that the same parents that you wonder
yes,
how you would ask them to pay school fees in this situation, this era,
yes,
are the same parents you've been calling upon to pay all the taxes and levies you've been introducing in the name of COVID from 2020.
Yes, but Randy, what we are saying is that our individual resources may not be enough and it may be burdensome when you ask us. But when it's through taxes and it's the collective contribution of all of us, you create a greater pool that allows government to intervene for all of us more effectively. Do you get the point? So yes, for instance, all these taxes that we are talking about, this 1.5% of e-levy that government has introduced, even though it may be difficult for some people, by the time we put that collective contribution together, we are able to raise enough substantial resources that allows government to then help create sustainable jobs for youth. Okay? So, yes, even though it has come at a cost to us, the benefits for me far exceeds the cost that we are going through as a country. And our parents, or the Ghanaians who contribute to these taxes that we pay, one thing that I can say for sure is that they are not unhappy if they see the benefits of those taxes that they pay. If government can show to them that indeed, when you collected the taxes, this is what you have done. And yesterday, another good thing Vice President Bawumia did was telling us the monies that we have borrowed and what it has been used for. Listing over 200 different projects in different regions, different communities, substantial projects that are going on to show that yes, the monies we borrowed, this is what we have invested in this country, and this is the benefit it portends for our country. So it is, yes, no tax anywhere is easy to pay, but I'm saying that our government has reinvested those taxes in us. We are seeing the benefits not only in education but in roads. We have seen a lot of improved road infrastructure in our country, and we are going to do more. We have seen energy sector, Dumso has gone. At least we have seen sustainable power supply in our country. Okay, every sector that you want to go to, health. Now we are doing Agenda 111.
Dumso ended before you took power.
Well, that's what you say, but we all experienced it. Dumso never ended under NDC. Every Ghanaian knows this fact that you 5 years they couldn't resolve Dumso.
No,
Which Ghanaian will believe?
Are you suggesting
you told me that you should say things we should believe?
Yes.
Are you asking me to believe you, Randy?
Yes. Are you
suggesting
that by 7th of January 2017 we are Dumso in Ghana?
Of course.
Oh wow.
Andy,
John.
check. Even when we came, there were times that we needed to restore some of the pylons and the infrastructure.
But that one is
and
not going even today.
No.
But are you suggesting that because my light
is something I'll believe?
My light goes off 4 hours, 6 hours.
Go back to your calculations.
No.
Tell me something I'll believe.
I'm telling you. on the flagship, I just saw this.
So the 15.62. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, but the figure is from 2017 to 2021.
Yes, 5 years.
Yes,
that's what I said.
Yeah. No, you said 60.
No, when you put all the other interventions, I think he also quoted that one, the 60 billion investment,
yes.
Not just the flagship,
yes,
but the other interventions that I think he quoted another amount of 60 billion, right?
Yeah, but that will not be for the flagship.
No, I added the flagship plus other. Flagship is not the only thing government is doing.
Yes.
We are doing a number. I quoted this figure. This is for the flagship, and I'm saying because people have been complaining that it's because of free SHS, that's why we are struggling financially.
Right. Okay, so we need to take a break, but you know the issue I raised with you about Honorable Suini's question on the IPPs.
Yes.
So this is from the Hansard. I just cut that portion, so you get the actual answer.
Okay.
What we paid between 2017 and 2021.
This is to the supplies.
Yes. So
yes. But beyond the suppliers, right?
Yes.
I told you that beyond the suppliers, there have been renegotiated IPP agreements. Right?
No, but he's talking about payment that have affected the deficit.
Yes, it is.
So that's it. Yes. That's the answer to the parliamentary questions. It says, Mr. Speaker, the underlisted independent power producers receive payments for excess capacity charge for the period in review 2017 to 2020, totaling 937.50 million.
Yes.
So 937.
They are in dollars, so
yes.
And these are the suppliers.
Yes.
But we are talking about all the agreements. The agreements go be almost 20 or so.
But what are we paid for?
Once you have signed.
No, but this is what we've paid.
No.
To
some
them.
of them have been renegotiated and settled off. You get it. So when we are talking about payments in IPP, we are not talking about this that is being paid to the current suppliers.
So how come
it goes beyond this?
So just educate me. So how come, for example, in the outturns for 2021 in the 2022 budget, it didn't reflect? We didn't see those figures.
Oh no!
Because if, for example, in 2021 you had spent some 20 billion more on this, it should be reflected in your 2021 outturns in the 2022 budget. Is that not how it's done?
It is. If you take 2022, 4 billion cedis was provided for IPP.
Yeah. So if it's 4 billion,
4 billion what?
Ghana cedis.
How much is that in dollars?
Divide by 7.
What do you
yes, it will be
some 300, 400.
Yes, it's not that much. So the gap between this and what is being mentioned is quite.
But this one will not add all the renegotiated payments we have done. I'm saying that when your question limits the scope, you don't expect more. Okay. So if you want to know the scope of it, ask a complete question. That brings all the payments.
Okay, all right. We need to go, but let me just do this quickly. Engineer Atapoku, the metro engineer, Ashanti region. I didn't know Atapoku was this young. He's 40 today.
Oh.
Yes.
And you know his Nana.
Yes, that's him. He's 40. He's 40.
My special greetings to Nana.
He's 40 today.
Nana Tabuku.
So happy 40th to you.
Yes.
My brother and my friend Atapoku. Happy 40th to you.
He's such a wonderful
individual. Yes. And he's the son of Okumkom.
Oh yes.
Yes.
That's why he's a prince. He's Nana.
Okay. Eli Klimakurugu, who was a parliamentary candidate of the NDC in the Domiko Abenya constituency, today is your birthday. So happy birthday to you. Also, Mrs. Eli Klimakurugu, happy birthday to you. And our own Kiki here, David Brown, one of our young directors, babyface director, David Brown. Kiki, today is your birthday. So happy birthday to you. Okay, I didn't know when we took this picture. All right, we'll be back shortly.
Ebony TV any sound system. High sense the pro adrenaline tiasie so na ebrel. Model bia, size bia.
Every day you enjoy high sense
4K quality TV. I was smart features. High sense laser TV. A 4K picture quality. High definition and kasa. High sense sound system. Bass at bass, treble at treble, a boom. Everything 28 March, I copy 8 April. Him dada, Madam High Sense, Matiti Swamam say who? Ko High Sense showroom na kwa Jody. And more promo way in sound who? High Sense, everyday prices for everyday people.
Over 18 years in business, Appointed Time Printing Limited has delivered quality service to some of Ghana's well-known brands. With our equipment capacity, we are able to deliver 1,500 pieces of polo and t-shirts in 1 hour. This is only possible with us. For retailers and wholesalers, we offer for sale high-quality polo shirts and t-shirts in different colors at affordable prices. We have a one-stop shop for all creative designs and billboards, 3D signages, flexi banners, car branding, stickers and posters. Locate us at the old GNTC building near Swansea Shopping Arcade, Accra. Contact us on 0501 454165, 0501 454167. Connect with us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook at Appointed Time GH. Appointed Time Printing Limited. Our printing is a
lifestyle, dear, trash it. If you get dustbin for your place, do the shocky as you trash your waist. When you baller, you nigga some then hide your face.
Zoom Lion is giving you 1 million bins for free to get rid of your trash. Download the Zoom Lion app now for your free bin, or make trash collection payment, or simply dial *857#. Zoom Lion, your waste management expert.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana Live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show, I have Dr. John Kuma and the Honorable Isaac Adongo. Yes, Honorable.
I think
you've made a lot of notes.
The work is getting very difficult. It's not easy to be in government at this point in time. Just on the IMF issues, my position is that at this point in time, I don't think we should go to IMF. It is not to suggest that I have said the IMF is not a solution to our economic development. They are two completely different because we've had a checkered history with the IMF and we've made a lot of gains. But at this point in time, I believe that if the government
we went there in 2020.
Exactly. I mean, they are not demons. When they gave us 1 billion free, we're happy. So that position. So we just took 2 billion, we're comfortable. So we cannot be demonizing the IMF. But I am saying that at this point in time, they can find a solution. That is not to say that I have a contrary view about IMF as an institution and how it works. The issue about the IMF finding Ghana for misreporting, I want to put on record that when MPP took power from the NDC, they thought that they were doing the NDC in, not the country. And rather, 2001. And rather wrote to the IMF saying that the data that have been presented to the IMF was not correct and that in their view, this is the data. And the IMF said, okay, they are going to impose a fine. Then they went back pleading. And the IMF said, they don't deal with political parties, they deal with countries. So, it's like we come in and saying that you have a reporting to IMF without certain data. So we'll put it together and say that what you have been reporting to us in Parliament is not correct. That is what your party did. It's not that IMF did some work and found some misreporting. You went and told IMF there was misreporting. Whether it was rightly or wrongly, we were not in government and we were not required to defend it. And you wanted Ghana to be embarrassed and you got embarrassment for it. The issue about reporting to IMF and reporting in Ghana, there is a standard international framework for reporting. If what you are reporting in Ghana is correct, how come when you are going to IMF you change the information and report what is acceptable to IMF and the international community? So clearly you are cooking the data here. And when you are going there, because you know them, when you report wrongly and they come to do their Article 4 and other reviews and they find it, you will be in trouble. Then you report the appropriate figures. But when it comes to Ghanaians, they will be quoting 3.9 deficit, primary balance surplus. We don't exist. That is the bottom line. Randy, the cut in expenditure and the admission that I have just listened is very worrying. If the Vice President admitted yesterday that the international community felt that our budget was not credible because of some of the projections they made that they knew was not going to be realized, and you want to give the market comfort, and you go and say that I'm going to cut 20% budget and an additional 10% on discretionary expenditures, and it is obvious you cannot cut it, you further deepen the credibility crisis. In other words, you just want to say something for them to nod their heads and raise their money.
It's obvious that you can't cut it. You're only saying you can't cut up to that extent, right? You're not saying you can't cut it.
We are dealing with a policy position.
No, okay.
And the policy position is to cut 20% of the budget.
Yes, but that's the target, which is impossible. Well, but that is the target. Nothing stops you from setting targets.
No, but it's impossible. But the target must be realistic.
Randy, if you want to talk
about
that's
where I agree. But he is saying that we can't cut.
Randy,
you can cut 20.
Randy, so you can cut.
Randy,
maybe you may not
want to talk target. The target that is known and used by everybody is your appropriation. That is the target. You haven't come to Parliament to revise that target.
So you always come at mid-year.
Yeah, but you haven't come.
Yeah, but mid-year is not.
So your policy pronouncements are not binding on you. Legally, they are not binding on you because you have up to 145 billion to spend. That is what you can be held to. So when you are now trying to convince somebody that I want to pinch myself and not do what I have been allowed to do, it must be realistic. Especially when the 145 billion appropriation is already the subject of credibility crisis. You must be saying, and look, Randy, the next 2 days after they announced that, the government went on the market to raise 2.5 billion Ghana cedis. You know how much they got?
How much?
They got 738 million. An under subscription of 66% in our own country.
Reason?
They did not trust the policy measures that he had raised. This so-called we'll go and raise $2 billion somewhere, and then we'll go and spend.
I saw on the front page of Business and Financial Times, it says investors shy away from T-bills due to unattractive rates.
Yeah, exactly. You remember I discussed with you the arbitrage issue here.
Yes.
But you see the challenge with monetary policy today. The challenge with monetary policy. Let me make my point. You see, the challenge with monetary policy today is the fiscal side of the economy. The level of fiscal dominance that has created that huge interest payment you referred to makes it difficult for monetary policy to take appropriate decisions because it reflects in additional interest payment on government, and government doesn't have the fiscal space to do it. So if they are to price appropriately, and I give you the example, if your 5-year bonds that are left with 4 months or 3 months to maturity are going at a yield of say 21%, why should I come and put the same money in a treasury bill for 14.1%? When I can get the same money, I can give it to you again through the secondary market and make 18-21%. Clearly I won't give it to you. It means that the price, the interest rate has to go up. Now if you increase the interest rates, the challenge of how are you going to pay it when you don't have room in your budget? You are already complaining, like you just said, that if you add interest payment compensation, and that alone takes about 91% of your tax revenue. And then when you add statutory funds, there's a problem. So you are technically using statutory funds to even pay compensation and interest payments. That's what you are doing. So if you want to price appropriately, your budget will be completely off the roof. So monetary policy is being careful because of the fiscal quagmire that we are in. Then you have your vice president say, oh, all is well. Fundamentals are strong. You start.
Yes.
You start.
Yes, you start.
In your budget. You have only 480 million to be paid from the e-levy for you start. So why are you deceiving everybody that it is e-levy that is going to give you start? You are expecting the counterpart of almost 520 million from donor funds. Yeah. They too give you 1 billion.
Yes.
You are not willing to put your money. The e-levy that the poor is paying, you are not willing to put it into EU start. As a matter of fact, you are expecting a donor to come and give you 520, which is not certain. And now you want a bank that is already struggling under the rating of government of Ghana. Some of your banks have been downgraded on account of exposure to government. You want those same people to further give money to people who are not experienced just because you want to grow entrepreneurs. 10 billion and you are putting only 480 million. Who will do that? So clearly this is a scam. It was just a sweetener to be able to put your hands in the people's pocket and take the e-levy. That was all about it. Otherwise, there's nothing in your budget to suggest that you are going to do any serious. And you know this is what they do. They'll just go and get some 50, 30 people. Get one of them that is already doing well, and then before they are showcasing him like the way they are painting factories everywhere and claiming that they have built 146 factories. That's what they will do. Casa Prevo. You go and paint it. And then you say that's one. You say you have built these factories more than everybody. More, we cannot see them. All we see are the old ones being repainted and repackaged. That's all.
See.
Randy, Bawumia says that the exceptional expenditures are 7 billion. And I'm very happy you brought that data. That data suggests that on an annual basis, they have not even paid more than 150 million to IPPs. And this is total payment too. So if you renegotiate an IPP contract and you cancel it, do you pay for it?
Yes.
If you paid for it, you have to indicate. And this is what you came and indicated.
No, that's not a question.
I am saying the question is how much have you paid IPPs? So it doesn't. I mean, have you paid
suppliers?
IPPs?
No, for suppliers.
How much have you paid? How much have you paid IPPs for take or pay?
From 20,
specific.
Yes, for take or pay.
For take or pay.
From this
2017 to 2021.
The suppliers.
To 2020.
Yes. Those were suppliers.
Take or pay. And the question, the Bawumia is saying that they are paying take or pay to the tune of 1 billion a year.
Oh yes.
And I'm saying that the man came and said that the take or pay that they have paid for 4 years is not even 1 billion.
Yes, but they listed those specific suppliers.
Let me finish.
Yeah, but the question was how much we have paid.
Yes, to the suppliers.
To take for
who would have paid to? Who would have paid to? The IPPs are suppliers. Who would have paid?
But I'm saying that it goes beyond this current supply.
Let me make my point. When it comes to you,
agreements.
When it comes to you, then you speak. Okay. The important thing is whether it is us or it is who. How much have you paid?
That's what.
How much have you paid? And you have come to pay to tell us what you have paid. So it does not lie in the mouth of Bawumia to be quoting 1 billion a year anywhere.
Oh, how?
Because they don't exist. In the official records, you don't quote those figures. Randy, we need to understand something. Ghana's economy is in dire straits. As we speak today, investors are pushing to exit this economy, and they don't even have liquidity in the market to sell them. People are holding bonds. They are looking for people to buy the bonds, even at cut prices. I don't care giving you a yield of 20%, 25%. Just give me my money, let me exit. Nobody has money to buy. The banks are now limiting their exposure to government, so they won't buy them. That's where we are. That's where our problem is. You have a fiscal environment that has compromised the future of our country. And when you come, you don't discuss how you are going to address that fiscal quagmire, which is the starting point of all the problems of our country. He says that it is not only COVID, but it was also this. Randy, when we spent so much on fintech in 2018, why does the cost recur every year? So 2020, 2021, under COVID, we pay the same money again. Did we pay the 24 billion again?
No, but you're talking
to worsen
about
our costs. No, to worsen our costs, so that if you isolate that 24 billion, then you would have seen the true impact of COVID. It is not true.
Why not? When you paid with a loan.
Did we pay?
It. So it doesn't go away.
That's the reason I don't interject.
Oh,
I
sorry.
want to, yeah. So
but I thought we were discussing when I was talking. Now all of a sudden, I can't come.
When you ask me, let me move on.
I'm writing it. Don't worry.
The important thing is that
in a couple of minutes,
we were not spending this as recurrent expenditures, where every year we spend it. But even if you did, Randy, it is a policy decision. Another government like the NDC wouldn't have gone throwing 24 billion around and would have addressed the problem. We had a budget of 9 billion Ghana cedis to deal with this matter. And we had started putting together the legal framework. Do you know that, but for the Banks and Special Deposit Taking Institutions Act, which we passed in 2016, you would not have had the mandate to undertake administration. The matters that you were resolving relying on that law became effective in 2017 because of the transitional arrangements. Are you getting it? So we couldn't even use that law because the law had 6 months to start to take effect. So when you were now using that law, we had provided the legal framework for you. The powers of the central bank, we amended the Bank of Ghana Act to give the Bank of Ghana extra powers. We passed the law on deposit insurance, all prepared in 2016 to continue with the process of resolving the problems in the banking sector. So if you come at the time that the law has not taken effect and you use it, then you say that if we wouldn't have dealt with it, we would not have dealt with it the way you have done. That is a problem. And so if you have thrown 24 billion away, that is part of your incompetence and your cluelessness. You cannot be blaming anybody. But Randy, I just want to also make the point.
Finally.
Oh, I thought he raised a number of issues, but
we don't have time.
Do you know that there's COVID, there's Ukraine-Russia war, but Greece has recently paid off all its obligations to the IMF. They live in an island, right? They are not affected by the global economy. Why are they not using Greece as an example?
Greece does not tell the story they want to tell.
And neither does Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Benin, Niger tell the story because they are better managed than us in terms of the buffers they had to withstand the headwinds. And the data is quite clear that those countries, if you look at those countries and Ghana was a complete disaster. Look, Cote d'Ivoire, that he was trying to compare. Cote d'Ivoire did 1.96 in COVID GDP. They did fiscal deficit of 5.59. Primary balance positive 3.7. Are they your colleagues? the debt to GDP was 47%. Look at Senegal. Senegal did 1.5% GDP, not 0.4. They did a deficit of 6.3. Primary balance negative 4.34, not your 14%.
What about Nigeria?
I don't have Nigeria here.
Okay.
But even Nigeria. No, but even Nigeria. Nigeria's total debt is 31 billion. No, 38 billion as at the end of 2021. In COVID, Nigeria did 31 billion. Billion Ghana dollars. That's the total debt size of Nigeria. Can you compare
the percentage to their GDP?
It's about 40%. You cannot be comparing your neighbors with you, because you this small country, your debt portfolio is about 50-something billion dollars, and the almighty Nigeria is doing 38 billion. It's a scandal.
Right.
And so I just want to make the point that no matter how they paint the economy, the reality is that Dr. Bawumia will wake up today and realize that he doesn't have reserves, and realize that the city is struggling, and realize that the international community is not enthused, and realize that it is difficult for him to go on the market and borrow, and realize that the 2 billion that he wants to go and borrow, and I want you to see the figure here, the 2 billion you say you are going to borrow, this is your sovereign financing, 4.8 billion. You used 6.4 at the time, which gave you $750 million. So you don't have $2 billion in your foreign financing to go and borrow, and that is illegal. So why are you deceiving the people? And that Bawumia will wake up and realize that this 2 billion, he needs it to pay 1.7 billion on offshore interest payment that has fallen due. He will wake up to realize that there's still no sleep.
All right. John, give me some hope.
There's so much hope. Don't believe in the propaganda that Adongo is putting out there.
I'm sure you hope budget.
No, but well, the fact that I'm showing the budget doesn't mean you're interpreting it properly. So don't believe me. Yes, because almost everything that you have said has no basis in the financial arrangement. First, but I gave it to you. It's my budget. No, but don't worry.
Because so, I your IMF document, you said it wasn't true.
Oh no, but it wasn't a budget document. So, Randy, first of all, the USTAT. USTAT is one of the bold initiatives of government to address unemployment in our country on sustainable levels. And the 10 billion cedis we are raising in the next 3 years, 3 billion of it will come from government, 2 billion will come from our development partners, and 5 billion will come from the participating financial institutions, including the banks. So the fact that in the budget an amount is coming from development partners to add up to what government is supposed to provide, it is part of the arrangement.
Let me ask you a question. The money expected to come from development partners, is it money secured, or you
every year
you expect to get?
We expect to budget.
So it's not secured.
Yeah, but because
I mean from the development partner, I don't mean GOG.
Yeah, from development partners.
Yes.
This year's own is secured.
It's secured.
Yeah, secured. Okay. This year's own is secured. So, and then the one district, one factory. I was surprised to hear Honorable Adongo. He says he's not seeing it.
So, I mean, apart from
there's a list.
I've seen the list. I'm on trade committee. I've seen the list.
If you have seen the list, you don't believe it, or you haven't visited them.
I'm mentioning them that they are painted factories, old factories.
Oh, but at least they are painted.
They are old factories painted.
It used to be unpainted, and now it's painted.
So why didn't you know that you wanted to paint factories? So that you know that
if you go by
examination, Dr. Kingsley Nyako, so tell my good friend Adongo that Casa Preko was not painted. Government supported it today in its state. He used to be Paramount Distilleries. As we speak, he produces
it's all propaganda.
diversity of beverages, mineral waters. It's situated at Kamosu. It's created several. Then he goes on to say, Adongo is delivering a lecture at Amusted, which is in my constituency tomorrow. Tell him he's not welcome. However, I'll get him fufu and gano soup.
No, he's actually indicating that I should know I will be received well.
Yes. So clearly, it's just a lot of propaganda that Honorable Adongo is putting out there. And then on the issue of the FinSec.
Yes.
I mean, everybody in Ghana knows how poorly the NDC government left the banking sector in Ghana before they left. Look, there were times that you even put your deposit in some of the banks, First Allied, GN Bank. It got to a time that there was so much liquidity constraint When you put your deposit there this morning and you come back later in the day, afternoon, and you want to withdraw from the same branch, the same amount you have put there, they will ask you to go and come again.
Can I give you an example last week?
Last
of
week.
Your bank?
Which bank?
Consolidated Bank.
What happened?
You take 2 checks. 4,000, 4,000.
Now all of a sudden,
I'm coming.
All of a sudden, you can come in.
You know,
you can come in. Let me continue. I don't want to hear that one. I don't. It's okay. You give me that. You're going to do more propaganda.
You give me permission.
No, I haven't. I've been wrong. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You see, clearly, this is the reality that Ghanaians found these banks. They became so bad. Government had to intervene. Government had to intervene. Right. So clearly, we strongly believe that what government did has rather positioned the banking sector in our country to be stronger and to play its role in the financial arrangement. So there is no way the NDC can run away from the bad banking sector that they left, and that MPP government, Dr. Bawumia, President, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, have come to resolve the banking sector crisis. Now they keep saying they will do things differently. Randy, they were in power for 8 years. They supervised this rot in the banking system for all that years and did nothing. And when we have resolved it, he is sitting on TV and trying to even take credit for the law that was used to resolve it. Was that the only law that could have been used?
Which other law? Tell me.
No, I'm coming. It wasn't the only law you could have used.
Which law? Tell
so
me.
At one breath, you say you have done things differently. Another breath, you even want to tell us there was no law. It was poor supervision. It's got nothing to do with the existing law. So, Randy, what I'm trying to say is that the NDC was so incompetent in the management of the banking crisis.
Incompetence even once.
Oh no, then I'm using it for him. I'm using it for him because look,
the economy has humbled your man.
But he didn't have to use it. It was clear that the NDC government was so incompetent, extremely incompetent. Okay, and Randy, they kept throwing money.
My goodness.
At the problem.
Which problem?
They kept giving the banking sector crisis. They kept giving money to the same rotten system. They picked their money and redirected it to the same corrupt system. And we kept going.
You want to talk about corruption?
Of course. Why can't we talk about corruption? What is wrong with talking about corruption?
Okay.
And we have to talk about corruption.
Yesterday,
he talked about it, how he has used technology to enhance a lot of revenue.
The PDS,
and see,
the PDS, he supervised.
Look, you see, all of a sudden he can come in without my permission, because the propaganda now he can't do.
But I asked a question. You saw the bait.
I guess for a moment he thought that you guys were the committee.
But the committee is senior. Committee
because he comes to me.
So I have to listen to him at the committee.
Let your power stay at the committee.
As for here, you have to listen to me.
I don't go to him.
So here, let me talk some more. So Randy, this issue about Greece and maybe paying off their debt to IMF, I don't think you really want to compare Greece to Ghana. If you check their debt to GDP, Greece is one of the top 10 debt to GDP ratio countries in the world.
But you were yesterday the vice president yourself. You were comparing us to America.
I'm saying there's nothing wrong. If he wants us to go the Greece way, we can do it. It's just a matter of adding more to the debt. America is 112%.
But Greece's economy,
it's about
not too long ago, was in tatters.
That is it. That's what I'm talking about.
They have revived.
Yeah, they are reviving. Just like what we are doing, we are also reviving. Just like you are praising Greece today. You wait a little while, you will praise Ghana too. And we have done it before, and we will do it. But Randy, before we leave, I just want to reassure Ghanaians that it is important we empathize and agree and accept the fact that indeed, in all humility, we are not in normal times. Things are tough, prices are high. His Excellency President Akufo-Addo acknowledged it in the State of the Nation address. His Excellency the Vice President re-echoed it yesterday. But the good news is that they have shown us the way out and the plans to get Ghana out of this difficulty. And so if I'm a Ghanaian, I'll be hopeful and pray and support this government so that all the good measures that have been put in place will come back to redeem this economy and put us on economic path of prosperity. Thank you, Randy.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Isaac, for joining me on the show. It's been a good one. And I'm sure we'll continue. Maybe we can do this once every month.
Okay.
Yeah, once every month. It'll be good. So at least
he's my senior at the committee, so I'll have to hold a meeting.
So let me say a happy 40th.
The school prefect.
A happy 40th birthday once again to Engineer Atapoku. Happy 40th birthday to you, my brother. Happy 40th birthday to you, Engineer Atapoku. I hear it's going to be a 3-day party from today to Sunday.
Wow.
In Kumasi. Yes.
Then we'll join him, surely.
Sincerely, Akurugu, happy birthday to you. And David Brown Kiki, here, happy birthday to you as well. Up next, GMG Trends.
Do you want to know how to build with the latest building technology? Or do you want to build a smart house? Or do you want to know how the world of real estate is fast changing?
283 for all inquiries.
Do you want to know how to build with the latest building technology? Or do you want to build a smart house? Or do you want to know how the world of real estate is fast changing? Then your best bet is Real Estate TV. Because on Real Estate TV, we will tell you how to build with the latest building technology, show you why you need to build eco-friendly houses to save cost, and tell you what the game changer in the real estate industry is all about.
Real Estate TV is sponsored by
EcoBlock. If you can imagine it, we can produce it.
Real Estate TV will make it happen.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. It's time to check out what is trending on social media with Desi the Starboy. Desi, I've taken about 7 minutes of your time.
Yeah. I understand. As the Vice President was going to speak in Kwadia, and people have to know what he talked about and all of that. Yeah. So let's get into it straight out. Yesterday, the state of the economy was trending, and Bawumia Speaks was trending. Bawumia Lies was also trending. So I've got a couple of them that I'll show to you real quick. So let's begin with Bawumia and the state of the economy. And then I'll show you something that is trending also on Twitter. Sports commentators, anyways. So this one, state of the economy hashtag, says that I don't have any problem with all the progress we have made in fighting our economy. My question is, how is that affecting the ordinary Ghanaian that can barely even afford the current transport? So that is one coming out. This is a very interesting one that, hey, for example, Sukwachi, kindly get, your boss, Mr. Mama, some water and paracetamol, because interesting one there. And Dennis Mapuri also writes this one there, as you see on your screen right now, the fallout from yesterday's speech by the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia. This one says that Bawumia always they lie. Oh, why people they do so? People are saying that because he was fasting, he shouldn't be lying. But I don't know if it was that. Okay, well, so someone can leave their house, come and tell us, and I say, go back. Oh, just like that. I got this for you. So those are some of the comments about the speech yesterday at the TESCON event by the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. And of course, we're moving on quickly, and we'll wrap up with this video I've got for you. So this weekend, we've got Hearts versus Kotoko. That's a big game coming up. And this video started surfacing on social media, and I just want you to just watch this.
Jose Mauro dos Santos, Mono Fesu Pampam Jelen Boss, Atma Romatina Branta Santo Busqueo, a different American, so much Omokamu Piati, and Transfemino Bacona, Sampoino, and
Zebetna confirmation Kopumo in the mountains for first match of the season, Roma Bobocona, Omni Bobo Coven said Verena Cobo, no, and putting 40 the 3 points number Verena Bobocona, and say, yes, Sabrant event said, Jawara, no Sabrantono, no means some for Tasso on the deal, but let's get no part of Sakai, Edema Roma Bobocona,
stop at 43, Algeria Pasha Yatia, she's the Quay Robert Tosso, and Robert Thomas to show, and so Akasha, Bush of Algeria Pasha, Frank Slampad, and the Belle Foundation, and so they to her, I'm a look suggestion for Africa Grand Final Saturday,
So you'll be hearing more of that House versus Kotoko, but that's it.
Sunday. It looks like all commentators they are former prayer warriors.
It reminds me, so that's the same energy.
Yes.
So they keep it there. Like, you saw the first guy where Josh to the crowd.
That's it.
Yeah. But the people also love it too.
Yes.
If you don't do it like that to are kind of sports in your day.
I mean, when you sit at the stadium, say kitty, and the ball is at the center line.
The press boss, I think I saw a video like that where they took a video of the commentators and finally nobody gets distracted.
Do you know Abate?
Yeah.
Yes. Look, he was one day he was late for the game. And it was time for the commentary. He started the commentary before I entered the stadium. Hey! These commentators.
He started before he's played a game in his life before.
At the stadium gate, Kwasi was running commentary before I entered the stadium.
So, on that note, please, prayer warriors, if you want to become sports commentators, please take your time. We beg you. We want to hear what you are saying.
The transition from one to the other will be quite smooth.
Oh yeah, because the energy and the and the last guy. On that note, it's a wrap for the week. And because yesterday Doc gave a shout to our friends. See, we are doing black. Here we are.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Are you hopeful about Ghana?
I cannot afford not to.
Is it just because you are Ghanaian?
There's too much going for Ghana for it not to work.
Ghana is not a poor country.
And why do you say that?
We are a poorly managed country.
Lifestyle, the way and manner a people live, their politics, way of governance, socio-cultural lifestyle, health habits, and everything that comes with it. Lifestyle with Rosie is a show about Ghana and for Ghana.
Is there something like an ideal time for a woman to have a child?
Early 20s.
Doc, you agree with me?
The time they are telling you, don't be, that is the time that your body says, yes, this is the best time.
Interesting. Are people taking more mortgage, or people are self-building their homes still as it's been?
Vast number of people still out there that are buying the land. Unfortunately, some people actually pass away and that building never gets completed.
But you can also die through paying mortgage.
Well, there's a way to go around that anyway, so you're covered.
Ghana is for us. If we don't talk about our issues and highlight our challenges and find solutions to them, who will? Lifestyle with Rosie is here to bring you all the intricate conversations of nation building, on health, and all the complexities of life that we find difficult to talk about as a people. Hi, my name is Rosie, and I'm your host on this show. There are no limits to what to expect. It's educative, informative, thought-provoking, and very exciting. And oh yes, I can't wait to spend time with you Saturdays at 6 p.m. Make a date.